the person who betrayed you, wasn't the first. Think of the last time someone crossed a line with you. They canceled last minute, took credit for your work, stopped showing up. You felt it, that cold sting under the ribs. How could they? But here's what nobody asks. Who let them in? Most people think betrayal arrives like an explosion. It doesn't. It arrives quietly in small permissions. In the things you let slide, once, twice, 100 times. Telling yourself, just this once, it's fine. That sentence is where it starts. Daniel didn't see it coming either. He was 38. Smart. The kind of person everyone described as, he always gets it. He listened. He showed up. He never said no. For years, he gave people his time, his energy, his patience. He thought he was building loyalty. He was building something else entirely. Tonight, we're opening case number 3. It's not about the people who let you down. It's about the door you left unlocked and the quiet system that made you leave it open. We'll look at why it happens and how to stop doing it to yourself. Picture a detective standing at a crime scene. He's not looking at who threw the punch. He's looking at what came before it. The unlocked door, the disabled alarm, the tracks that lead from the inside out. Most people who complain about being betrayed left the door unlocked themselves. Not because they're naive, not because they're weak, because somewhere along the way they learned not to trust their own alarm system. You knew, you always know. That moment at dinner when something was said and something inside you tensed. That request that felt like a demand. That boundary you moved yourself, telling yourself, just this once, it's fine. Just this once, it's fine. That's the most dangerous sentence you'll ever tell yourself. His name is Daniel. He's 38. He's the kind of person people describe as, he always gets it. He listens. He doesn't take offense. He makes room for other people's problems. Colleagues borrow from him, not just money, time, energy, attention, and he gives it because he understands they're going through something. They have families, they have their own struggles. So does he, actually. But he doesn't mention that. He doesn't want to be a burden. One day, Daniel asked for a favor, something small. Help moving apartments on a Saturday. Of the 7 people he'd helped over the years, not one showed up. One texted an hour before, sorry, something came up. The rest, nothing. Daniel moved the boxes alone. At some point, he sat down on the floor of the empty apartment, leaned against the wall, and stared at the ceiling. Not because he was physically tired. He suddenly saw the pattern. His entire life, he'd built relationships on one foundation. If I make myself indispensable, they won't leave. He thought he was buying loyalty. What he was actually doing was funding an illusion. He wasn't angry at them, he was angry at himself, because he realized he had never once said what he actually wanted. He had never asked for reciprocity. He had agreed to the rules of a game he could only lose, and then acted surprised by the score. This isn't a character flaw. It's learned behavior. At some point, usually in childhood, most of us absorbed a simple equation. If I'm easy to be around, I'll be loved. And it worked. Parents got less angry. Teachers gave praise. Friends stuck around. The equation held. The problem is that adult life runs on different rules. In adult life, being easy to be around doesn't buy love. It buys being used. 3 mechanisms of self-betrayal. You back down before anyone even asks you to. You anticipate someone else's displeasure and quietly remove it before it appears. You think this is sensitivity. It's actually fear of conflict dressed up as consideration. Something hurts, but you immediately find a reason why that's okay. He's just tired. She didn't mean it. I expected too much. You become the defense attorney for the person causing you harm, and the prosecutor of yourself. I'll say something later. Now's not the right time. I don't want to ruin the evening. Later becomes never. What goes unsaid accumulates in layers, like sediment at the bottom of a glass, until one day the whole thing turns murky. Daniel didn't call those 7 people. He didn't explain how he felt. He didn't demand an answer. He did something else. He sat down and made a list. Not a list of grievances. A list of moments when he had broken his own rules. Every time he said yes and something inside him died a little. Every time he stayed silent and couldn't sleep afterward. Every time he moved the line and told himself, just this once, it's fine. The list was longer than he expected, much longer. And at the end, he wrote one sentence he'd never let himself write before. I allowed this to happen, not as an accusation, as a diagnosis. A diagnosis isn't a verdict. It's the beginning of treatment. Daniel didn't change overnight, but he started asking himself different questions. Not, why did they do this, but why did I allow it? When something feels wrong, don't immediately reach for a reason why it's fine. Just note it. This doesn't feel right. Pain is a signal, not a weakness. A detective doesn't ignore evidence. Honesty that gets postponed becomes resentment. Resentment that accumulates over years becomes an explosion or permanent silence. One uncomfortable sentence now costs far less than 6 months of an internal trial. Help given out of fear isn't help, it's a bribe. You're trying to purchase the right not to be abandoned. But bribes don't build relationships, they build dependencies. Help because you want to, or don't help. Daniel still helps people, but differently now. He helps the people he actually wants to help. He says no without explanation when he doesn't. He says that doesn't sit right with me instead of it's fine, it's uncomfortable. Some people left his life because of it. He doesn't miss them the way he thought he would. Every betrayal is a piece of evidence. But the evidence doesn't only point to the person who betrayed you, it points to the unlocked door. The world isn't obligated to respect your boundaries. It doesn't even have to notice them. That's your job. A detective doesn't weep over a crime scene. He studies it. He asks questions. He closes the case. Start with the first question. Where did you leave the door unlocked? Case number 3. Closed.